Now, I don't really like using the word cinematic because it can mean a number of different things to a number of different people. It is a very, very, very overused word when it comes to things like filmmaking. But in this video, just a word of warning, I might end up using it quite a lot. I'm sorry. So you want to make your videos look more cinematic, but there is no right or wrong way to be able to do that, and no one particular way to be able to do that, because it could be a number of different things to help get that cinematic feel to your video. It could be color grading, it could be composition, it could be lighting techniques, and sometimes even sound can help make your videos feel more cinematic as well. But in this video, I just want to look at one particular way related to color grading to help get the more cinematic feel to your videos, and that is by using a plugin from Motion VFX called mFilm Look. Now, I should just say very quickly, this video isn't sponsored by Motion VFX. I just really like this plugin, as well as a few of their other plugins as well, but this one is purely about mFilm Look. Now, this plugin has been out for quite a while, but I've been using it for a couple of weeks now, and already it is one of my favorite plugins to help style my videos and give them that look and feel that I want to, that cinematic look and feel. What's the cinematic count that we're up to now? Okay, so here we are inside Final Cut Pro, which is my editing software of choice. You might have something different. I think mFilm Look does work with a couple of others. DaVinci maybe. I might be wrong, but you'll have to go and have a look on the website. I've already imported a few clips, so we're just going to have a quick mess around with this new plugin to see how we can end up making them look. These are all filmed on my Lumix S5, which is currently in for repair because I dropped it last week and broke the screen. They are all filmed in Vlog, so it is a log profile, which means we need to bring back the contrast, the saturation, and a little bit of detail and color into the image. And we're going to use mFilm Look to be able to do all of that and give it not only its Rec 709 corrected look, which is what you need to do to be able to bring log footage to a normal looking image, change it to a Rec 709 image, but we're also going to give it a creative style look as well. We're just going to start with this clip of me talking here to the camera. So as you can see, if we go over to mFilm Look in our effects panel, we have a load of presets built in that come with the mFilm Look plugin, which if we hover over, will give you a preview of what they look like. Some of these will suit clips better than others, but because this is a log piece of footage, I'm going to go and drag on the entire mFilm Look. We're not going to use any of the presets. We're just going to drag on that mFilm Look. And you can see here, it gives us this little sidebar that we can turn things on and off with, or if you want to, you can hide it by clicking Show on-screen controls, which is OSC. So the first thing you'll come to is this Convert to Rec 709, and that is the first thing we need to do because this is filmed in log. So we're going to go down to the camera I use, which is the Panasonic S5, and that was shot in Vlog. And you can see we have 4 different Vlog corrections. The one I tend to use is V3. I just think that looks the most natural. And if we turn on our scopes and our waveforms, you can see that it has done a pretty good job already of stretching that out. That is the natural straight out of camera Vlog picture. And we want to stretch this out so the shadows are around about 0 and the highlights are around about 100. So nothing is clipping on either side. And that has done a pretty good job. If you wanted to, you could then go to your levels, turn on the levels and change around with these. So the black in black is going to stretch it down lower. Out black is going to lift up the blacks, and the same with the highlights. So out white is going to drop the highlights, and in white is going to raise the highlights. And you can mess around with these until they're around about where you want. It's not always going to be that you want your highlights to be at 100. You might want them a bit lower. It's down to your what you're trying to create with that image. And in gamma is going to be your midtones, so you can drop and raise them if you want to. And I'm just going to raise them a little bit. So then as we scroll down inside the inspector, you can see that we have more basic adjustments. And if we enable that, we can then change the temperature, which again is white balance. It gives you more control over that if you need to. You can increase the vibrancy and the saturation and the sharpness. I tend to keep these, if you're going to mess around with them, I'd probably be very subtle with them if you want to be. I am maybe just going to warm it up just a little because it was very, very cold this day. It was like -7, -8. and I couldn't feel my hands at all. We're going to keep scrolling down inside this inspector. This is where everything is inside the mFilm Look plugin. It's all done through your inspector, and there is so much in here that you can go and change and create your desired look. I'm going to come back to this one, which is the off-screen flare, because I think that is something that probably should be lower down in here. I think these maybe should be ordered better and go in the order you need to correct them. So we'll come back to this off-screen flare. The next one we're going to use is this 3D lookup table. Now at the top, we've already corrected our log footage to a Rec 709 image. But if we want to add in a creative style, we can then use a LUT, and we're going to click enable. And this LUT that is used is Lapis. This is kind of the default one that comes up all the time. But what you can also do is go into LUT presets. And I'm just going to drag this over here, and you get all of these built-in LUTs that come with mFilm Look. So you can then scroll through and see which one suits the style that you're after to suit your video. Okay, we'll go with this one, Milestone, and then we're going to go and click OK. And then that gives you a look that you can then increase the intensity of. So by sliding it all the way down, that is back to your Rec 709 image, and you can just increase the intensity as much as you want. But then what you can do is go back up to your adjustments. You can then change your vibrancy and saturation, and again mess around with your levels if you want to. And I think that looks okay. But then this is where it starts to get interesting, because you want to help give your video that cinematic feel. Cinematic, again, that word, no one really knows what it means, but you want to give it that look and feel that just, it looks good. Good? Can I say that? It looks good. You want to make it look as good as possible. You want to make it look as cinematic as possible. So you can do things like adding in aberration, which is little things around the side. It helps it look like you've maybe used a vintage lens. And again, you can increase or decrease the intensity of this. So if you look around the edges of this image, you can see it almost blur in the edges. And it adds in a bit of sort of a RGB color. You'll get a bit of a rainbow effect sometimes. If you look down the side of the bench here, it's gone a little bit blue. If I turn it off, looks nice and sharp again. By being subtle with it, it helps add a little bit of something extra to your image. You can then go in and add in some distortion. So again, it makes it look maybe like a vintagey lens. I don't tend to use this, but it's useful sometimes. I do tend to use lens blur quite a lot. And this, again, it has a similar effect to the aberration tool, which is further up here, but you don't get the sort of fringing colours, the blue, pinky, purples around where we had it on the bench here before. Is literally just a blur. So it's almost like a vignette for blur. I do tend to use that quite a lot. I do really like that feature. And then we're getting towards my favourite part, which is the grain. And you can turn on the film grain and increase the intensity and the size of your grain, the speed in which it is moving. And I think that just adds so much to the image. I don't know what it is about grain, but it helps it feel like it was shot on film a little bit more, because when you're filming on mirrorless cameras now, they're filming such a high quality image in 4K and even 6 or 8K now sometimes. The image looks so sharp. And what film grain does is it just helps mellow that out a little bit, because when it is so sharp, it can look digital. And I kind of prefer that softer filmic looking image. And adding some film grain really helps to do that. So I do tend to, I might sometimes go a little bit too heavy on the grain, but I really like it. We do get a vignette. That's a vignette. Everyone knows what a vignette is, but you can change that. We do also get a letterbox feature, which adds those black bars at the top and the bottom of the image, and you can change the size of these. So you could go for a CinemaScope one, which is almost emulating a anamorphic style film, because if you're aware of an anamorphic lens, what you have to do is squeeze the image because it stretches it out and shoots even wider than a normal lens. I'm not going to go into anamorphic now, but when you de-squeeze it, that's why you end up with the black bars at the top and the bottom. And this almost helps emulate that a little bit. And it creates that widescreen look that we relate to cinema and cinematic. And you can change the size of these, so you could go to Vista Vision and it's a little bit less, and just do whatever you want with these. If you wanted to, you can put them on the sides. I do really like using CinemaScope. I think that does help it look more, I don't want to say it again, cinematic. But when you add in other things like flares, which we're going to go and talk about in a second, if we turn on flare, you can see it gives us this flare here. So in this shot, a flare isn't really going to work, because if we put it where the sun is, I suppose it does work a little bit, because you would get a flare with an anamorphic lens, for example, shooting directly into the sun. But what you can do is change the intensity of it and the hue. So if you wanted to go to a more anamorphic-y style blue flare, you can do that. You can add in some more saturation to your flare. And what that does is it creates that flare around the highlight. You need to be careful when you're using the flare and be creative with how you're using it, and maybe just be a little bit more subtle with it by using it off screen like that. But again, this shot shooting directly into the sun, if I then block it, the flare wouldn't be there in real life. So you have to be careful with it. But what you can do is, if you're moving around, you can then keyframe that flare to follow a window, for example, in the background, or follow the sun, whatever you want to do. Just be nice and creative with it. And it just helps add that look that you might be after with your video. I really, really like it. And if we then turn off mFilm look, that's what we started off like. That's how we ended up. And it just looks so good. It just has that cinematic, filmic quality to it. And that's what I really like. This clip here is, I've gone a little bit overboard on it with the grain and the flare, because I was just trying to show you what you can do with it. So I'm going to go and edit this clip now. I'm going to bring this over here. Again, I'm going to go down to the Vlog 3. This shot is a little bit different, because there's a lot of dynamic range going on here, because it is shooting the sunrise. It's shooting directly towards the sun that is about to rise. And there's a lot of color in the sky. So that is what I was trying to capture. I set the camera specifically to shoot the sky, which is creating this almost like silhouette effect of me looking out towards the sunrise. I'm going to leave all of these basic adjustments as they are. I'm not going to touch those for this clip. I'm going to go back to my LUT. So I'm going to choose a LUT that works well. We'll go for milestone. If we turn that on and off, that is where we started. That's where we ended up. So we're getting there already. We've not made a huge amount of changes to that. All we've done is add on a Rec 709 LUT and a color grade LUT. And I do pretty much like that as it is. But if we wanted to make it just look a little bit more cinematic, we can then add in some aberration. It just helps soften around the edges of these rocks up here. I always add grain, as I mentioned before, and we turn it on. You can see it in the clouds here. Just nice and subtle. It just adds something to the image. Letterbox, I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to position the clip. I'm going to cut off a little bit of the sky, just because it's very samey at the top. I'm going to lift it up to around about there. I really, really like that. And just by making simple changes using this plugin, it just helps you create a much more enjoyable image to look at. I have so much fun with this plugin. I really do. I spend hours just messing around with clips. There is so much you can do that I've literally just skimmed the surface with this little tutorial, but highly recommend it. Just go and have fun with it. It's not cheap. It's about 150 quid, but it is so worth it, and you will have so much fun with it. And it just helps making videos even more fun than it already is. I love making videos. This again just adds something extra to it because it's so fun to use. Genuinely love it. Let's just do one more clip very quickly. Drag on the plugin, turn off on-screen controls. I'm going to go down to Vlog V3. This is how quick you can get a great looking image. Just check your colors on here. I'm going to leave them around there. I want to keep the color in the sky. If I raised my highlights, for example, we don't want to lose that color. We start to lose the detail in the sky. It goes very white. That's where it starts to clip, which is why you want to keep it below 100. So I'm just going to leave it around about there. It's used lapis again, but I'm going to go and choose my own. Let's just choose that one. I quite like that. It might not be the one that I typically choose. Again, I might spend more time on it if I was going really into detail with it. Add in a little bit of vibration. I'm just going to reduce it because on the tree on the left it looks very intense. And add in CinemaScope. Look at that instantly. Just looks so good. Obviously there is many more changes you would want to make to this clip. I've just very quickly gone through it to show you what is possible. And if you're making short films, something like this is absolutely brilliant because it just makes it so easy and you can get that desired look very, very quickly. So yeah, that is mFilm Look, probably my favorite plugin to use for video editing at the moment. Go and have a play with it. Let me know what you think. Do you use it already? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.